you?
I'd like to see the man in charge.
He's in here.
I want to report a murder.
Sit down. Where was this murder committed?
San Francisco, last night.
Who was murdered?
I was.
This is Dick Jordan. You've just watched one of my favorite film noir classics, DOA for Dead on Arrival. It's a moody film, cast in black and white. This style of film was extremely popular in the 1940s and in the 1950s when I first saw it on television as a kid. You're about to see the trailer for a modern-day film noir classic, The White Bag, starring me. Film noir movies featured guys and dolls, dames, bars, drinking, chases by cops and the bad guys. But there was another takeoff on the film noir classic cops and robbers, criminals and villains movies, the spy movie. Here's one of my favorites, Our Man in Havana.
This is a top secret item. A map locating undercover activities. For each little pin here, there is one little spy. There, for example, our man in Jakarta, our man in Vienna, our man in Tokyo, and our man in Moscow. But the most unusual agent of them all was our man in Havana, a very likable chap in a most unlikely situation.
Frankly, when they asked me to be their man in Havana, I had no idea of how a spy spies. But I had reasons for being willing to learn, and they were anxious to teach me. That man is one of my instructors, a diabolical expert at the cloak and dagger game.
My name's Hawthorne. You will come to know me better as 59200. I'm in charge of the Caribbean network.
It sounds like the Secret Service.
Look out, someone's coming. Slip into a cabinet. Mustn't be seen together.
We have been seen together.
Don't argue, old man. I know the ropes.
Starring Alec Guinness, forced by accidents and design to become our man in Havana.
You again!
Burl Ives, caught up in the make-believe. Maureen O'Hara as a security secretary covering for our man in Havana. Ernie Kovacs, alias the Red Vulture.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I meant it for my whiskey.
This is the first time I've been shot in the back. I'm glad it was by a woman.
Noel Coward, he placed our man in Havana, placed him on the spot. Ralph Richardson, chief of security. Joe Morrow, our man in Havana's problem child.
I think we've got the Caribbean network sewn up. Just put me in the picture. I think you'll find the West Indies over here, sir.
I always mix up the East and the West Indies.
Every time Carol Reed makes a picture, everyone looks forward to something special in screen entertainment. Every time Graham Greene writes a story, everyone expects out-of-the-ordinary excitement and suspense. Now this team, so famous for The Third Man, has come to Cuba, one of the world's headline danger spots, to film Our Man in Havana.
This is where you end up. Alone.
I was under orders. Like you.
Castro marks the second anniversary of his revolution with the biggest military parade ever staged in Cuba, featuring tanks and other heavy weapons from Russia and Red Czechoslovakia. Shortly afterwards, Castro demanded the United States Embassy drastically reduce its staff to 11 persons. It was the last straw in his long campaign of provocation and harassment. President Eisenhower broke off diplomatic relations with a message read by Press Secretary Haggerty.
There is a limit to what the United States in self-respect can endure. That limit has now been reached. Our friendship for the Cuban people is not affected. It is my hope and my conviction that in the not-too-distant future, it will be possible for the historic friendship between us once again to find reflection in normal relations of every sort. Meanwhile, our sympathy goes out to the people of Cuba, now suffering under the yoke of a dictator.
What is it?
Say, what is it? Hey, why, it's Buttercup. Popcorn, add sweet cream butter to hot popcorn. Mix it up, wrap it up, Buttercup is born.
It's delicious.
So nutritious.
It's a taste delight.
It's so munchy,
crisp and crunchy.
You'll enjoy each bite. Eat butter-drenched Buttercup popcorn at its best.
Served in a king-size cup.
It beats all the rest.
And now, on with the show.
So now grab your popcorn, sit back, and watch the feature-length version of The White Bag. It was a dark night in San Rafael, a city that knows how to feed its people. My growling stomach said, "Eat at the little Vietnamese place owned by the bar girl you met in Saigon back in 1968. But just then, my iPhone's NSA app flashed a text message between enemy agents. There was no time to lose if I was to prevent the world's major cities from being turned into cigarette butts in a planetary ashtray. I rushed out of the office towards 3rd Street, whose ethnic restaurants were like wasp nests, abuzz with spies for evil empires. A glance at my watch told me I wasn't too late. Would the courier be a guy or a dame? Hello there, little lady. Show me what you got in your little white bag. Rats. Chinese takeout from Su Lin's. Wait a minute. Who's that doll sashaying up the street? It's the cashier from Zorba the Greek's deli, carrying a white bag of gluten-free baklava. I spied a guy slinking down the shadowy street like a deadly Malaysian cobra. I trailed after him like a mongoose, intent on dining on snake steak that night. After mistakenly attacking the pizza by slice delivery guy, I returned to the office. Eureka! It's the white bag! No, it isn't. It's just an empty Dunkin' Donuts bag. I need a dry martini at the little Vietnamese place owned by the bar girl I met in Saigon back in 1968. Where did the idea for the white bag come from, and how was it filmed? Who does it star, and how was it produced? You'll find out that next in the making of the white bag. It all began at the Community Media Center of Marin in San Rafael, California, which operates Marin TV, the local, non-commercial, public access television station. There, Allen Bronstein, the iPhone video guru, taught me and 9 other students how to skillfully shoot and edit video using smartphones and tablets. The idea for producing a film noir-style movie came out of a roundtable discussion between teacher and students, a bit like in this photo. Then we came up with a list of shots we needed, and one class member drew a storyboard similar to this one. When the class met a week later, we shot the entire film in a little over an hour, filming the interior scenes at the media center and the exterior scenes a half block away at the intersection of 3rd and A Streets. As he usually does in his video workshops, Allen Bronstein directed the shoot. 4 students acted out the scenes. How was it that I came to be cast as the leading man in The White Bag? Was it because I was as dangerous as Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca? Or as handsome and charming as Cary Grant in North by Northwest? Or because, no matter how grueling on-location shooting might be, I could be counted on to hang in there like Jimmy Stewart in Vertigo? It certainly wasn't because I was as thin as William Powell in The Thin Man. Perhaps it was my resemblance to master filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock that landed me the role. Unlike days past when movies were shot with large film cameras, all the footage for The White Bag was recorded on an iPhone 6 with a Filmic Pro app, the same one that Los Angeles filmmaker Sean Baker used to shoot his movie Tangerine, which opened in movie theaters on July 10th of this year. In the opening scene, I'm supposed to receive a text message on my iPhone about the white bag. In the first take, you can hear the director, Allen, telling the camera operator, Marguerite, to begin filming by moving the iPhone she's using past me on a little camera dolly.
All right, so go 1, 2, so you've left a little bit of a header.
Okay.
Okay, now you say action.
Action.
Okay, and then you start moving.
Allen tells me to pick up the phone, even though I haven't as yet heard the sound alerting me that I've got an incoming text message. We reshoot the scene so that the viewer sees my iPhone screen light up and a message alert sound before I pick up the phone and read the message. Marguerite films a shot of the text message, and the camera then moves in for a close-up of my startled reaction to the message. In the first take, I ham it up a bit too much, turning my head far to the right after letting out a gasp.
Cut.
We use the second take, even though it too is overly dramatic.
Action.
Next, I'm to jump up, grab my hat, coat, and belongings, and rush to the door. We ended the shot as I rounded the table. In retrospect, we probably should have filmed me running through the office and out of the front door. The original plan for the next scene was to place the camera low to the ground and show the bottom of my legs and my feet as I walked away from the office and up the street. But we simplified it by simply having me cut from the sidewalk through the circular driveway in front of the dry cleaners at the corner. First, we discussed how to do the shooting. Should I step over the camera or past it? At the end of the first take, the director, Allen, tells me to come back so we can reshoot the scene. The second take is the one that appears in the finished film.
Action.
Now you see me anxiously awaiting the arrival of the courier carrying the white bag. I glance at my watch, and then I lean forward, peering into the darkness for a glimpse of the courier.
Action.
I see Sonia nonchalantly sauntering by, swinging a white bag in her hand.
Cut. Action.
I throw up my hands in disgust, as she obviously is not the person I'm looking for.
Action.
We have to do a couple of takes of that scene to get it correct.
Action.
I turn to my right, and up the street waltzes Colleen, bag lady number 2, without even a glance toward me, as though I wasn't even there. Plan A was to have the next white bag carrier walk toward me from directly across the intersection. But to prevent Benny, who is the third actor with the white bag, from becoming roadkill, we have him start walking to my right, just out of view of the camera. I turn my head as he passes me, but I foul up the first take by walking directly between him and the camera. The second take is better, but I'm still out of position.
Action.
The third time proves to be a charm. I move far to the right so Benny is in view during the entire scene as I sneak after him.
Let it go. Let it go.
That's good.
Just let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. Okay.
In Hollywood movies, scenes are often shot out of order. All of the exterior shots may be filmed on location, with all the interior scenes later acted out on a soundstage.
Camera, lights, or lights, camera, action.
The last scene of the white bag, where I return downcast to the office after failing to nab the courier, was actually shot right after the scene where I jump up to leave and search the courier after getting the text message. I seem to be overjoyed when I spot a white bag in the office, but then turn and walk away exasperated after I discover it is not the white bag that I've been on a quest to find. The director's original idea was to show the bag, then have it seem to disappear into thin air. But in the end, we just shot the bag sitting there. Unlike the director and actors in Dead on Arrival and Our Man in Havana, we didn't have a screenplay to work from, just a shot list. We started out to make a film noir style movie, but when I began to edit the film, I decided that instead of being a private investigator or a cop, I should be a spy. Although our actors spoke no lines, that did not present a problem when making the trailer. Text flashing across the screen and dramatic music was enough to capture the attention of viewers and lure them into watching the feature-length film at a later date. In order for that feature to stand on its hind two legs, someone had to speak to the audience. So I wrote and recorded a voiceover script with narration by the lead actor that matched the footage, the exact opposite of how movies are normally made when scenes are based on a script that has been fully fleshed out before shooting begins. But how should I explain what was actually in the 4 white bags that appear in the film? They were about the size of small restaurant doggy bags, or ones that you would use to carry home sweets from a bakery. So I came up with the idea that each would contain a specific type of food. And the fact that in San Rafael you could eat Italian, Thai, Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Caribbean, and Mexican food, and of course pizza, allowed me to create the fiction that ethnic restaurants served as hangouts for spies. There are a couple of Vietnamese restaurants not far from where The White Bag was filmed, and because on screen I appear old enough to have served with the military during the Vietnam War era, I invented a local place that served martinis and which was run by the fictional bar girl I'd met during that 20th century conflict. All of the scenes, including the opener, were originally filmed in color, but to give the movie that 1940s, 1950s feel, I used Apple's iMovie program to convert The White Bag into a black and white film. Of course, no film is complete without music, so you either have to record your own songs that set the mood for the movie, or obtain them from another source. And the last bit of work that I did on both the trailer and the movie was to create the film credits. This is Dick Jordan. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed watching The White Bag, a spoof on both film noir and spy thrillers of the 1940s and 50s. You can make movies like this by becoming a member of a nonprofit media center like the Community Media Center of Marin in San Rafael, California, where The White Bag was a class project. You can have your films shown on public access television to cable TV subscribers in your community and across the nation. So go online and look for your local public access television station. Join today and start making film classics like The White Bag.